Hey, what's up, everybody? Freddie Kraft. Welcome back to Door Bumper Clear. We are here this week. Couple extra guests in the room. Tommy, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. It's a day late, right?
Yeah, yep, a little late. Not the
Middle of the day.
one of the
Middle of the working day. Been back and forth to Concord already.
Carson, how are you today?
I'm well. I got to work today and realized I totally forgot what I do for work from the long weekend. So,
How's your chair so far?
my chair is not on hydraulics this week, so I should not be sinking like I was the last time.
Obviously, I don't know way to sugarcoat it. Not a great weekend in the sport in general. Obviously, we lost Kyle Busch this week. We got Hirschman here. We're going to talk about a lot about Kyle, but I needed to liven the room up a little bit. I needed to find somebody that had a good weekend. And Eric Brennan, welcome to Door Bumper Clear.
Happy to be here.
Unbelievable job you did this weekend, man. How take us through. We knew ahead of time this was your first truck race coming up, and then obviously everything that happens, you're going to be the first person on air. How do you prepare yourself for that going into this weekend?
It was hard, and I mean, it's wild because we had this whole game plan, working with like Racing Insights. Everything was about Kyle going for 70 at the track. He won his first, and then by Thursday night, we were on about eight different phone calls trying to figure out how are we going to do this. I give all the credit in the world to Rich Groves, my producer, and everybody at Fox because they came up with a game plan to try to do our best to honor Kyle, but also to give everyone a distraction to enjoy what was supposed to be the first race of the weekend. So it was tough. Everyone did a great job. Obviously, the weather sucked, and I know we'll get into that, but the race was great, even though they only ran, I think 12 laps was the longest green flag run we had, but the largest lead of the race was less than 0.7 of a second, so it was
They only ran 12 laps.
I'll hinge on that stat.
Yeah.
But it was a good distraction, but it was tough.
We were talking about this last night. One of our more prominent broadcasters, somebody that reached out to you before this to kind of give you some words of advice. Like, I don't know if you want to touch on that at all.
Yeah, Mike Joy reached out to Rich and said, hey, if Eric wants, I'd love to talk to him. And I thought about reaching out to Mike, but I was trying to be respectful to what he may be feeling, because everyone feels a sense of loss. Even I didn't know Kyle personally, and I felt the sense of loss, And he gave me 25 minutes. He was driving up to his home track, Lime Rock. He did the Trans Am race this past weekend. And he gave me a lot of insight as to what they did at Rockingham in 01. And it was like he turned a pressure release valve off on me. And I just felt so much more relaxed and kind of composed. And the best advice was just be human. If you show an organic emotion and a human emotion in this moment, people will realize it's authentic and you're hurting just like they are. Yeah. And that advice was really what I needed. And I can't thank him enough.
Well, I've told you this 100 times already, but you knocked it out of the park. You did a phenomenal job with it. Really, really proud of you for everything you've done. Hirsch, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Give me the timeline of the years you worked with Kyle. Obviously, you're a longtime Kyle Busch spotter for trucks, Xfinity, Cup, whatever.
Yeah, so I started working with Kyle in 2012, and then I had worked with him for 11 years. So, not to age myself, but I've worked with him for almost a quarter of my life. So it was, special time, a lot of wins, a lot of wins. I think between the big three, we've worked together for 95 wins between Cup, Truck, and Xfinity. So, growing up in the sport, obviously my dad, he was my hero, still is my hero, and he taught me everything I know about the sport. But, successful by association, getting to work with Kyle taught me about the big three racing, how to race, what to look for. So he made me jump incrementally, and I think that's what's kept me in the business for that long. Just everything that I learned by watching Kyle, just like growing up watching my dad race. When you watch and learn from the absolute best to ever do it, shame on me if I don't pay attention and apply that to my KBM kids, Jones, Bell, that whole gang there. I was fortunate to be able to work with them, and I'll always be grateful and thankful to Kyle for everything he taught me, welcoming me in, and I'm thankful that I got to see the behind the scenes stuff, not just what was on camera and not what all the little clips that still pop up in the radio clips and stuff. That makes me chuckle. But love Kyle, love working with him, love the time with him. Obviously thinking of Samantha, Brex, Lennox, Tom, Gay, Kurt, the whole family, because they welcome me in as if I was family, and I'll always cherish and appreciate that.
Talk to me about spotting for Kyle Busch, because like you said, we hear the clips. He was obviously, I mean, he's on the Mount Rushmore of NASCAR drivers,
sure.
I think. But, you know, there's two sides of Kyle, obviously. That was the ultra, I mean, there was really only one side. He was ultra competitive, all out, all the time. Obviously had reactions in the moment, but like, how hard was it to harness that? Like, that, you know, you have a psychology degree from Penn State. Like,
Thank goodness.
How hard was that to
Still
harness that and steer it in the right direction? Because obviously there's sometimes he can get off the tracks a little bit, and you gotta kind of point him in the right direction.
For sure. And it was all on how you worded it. Like, he never, and understandably so, like, you had to word it properly where he didn't feel like you were coming at him. Like, we were all working together and pulling the rope in the same direction. So yeah, he was fiery, but it was like, I associate it with, you know, he just demanded the best out of me, out of the team, out of the truck, the car. He demanded the best out of himself. So there was no lax, there was no give up. So if he got on me about something, or if he got, it's because he wanted the absolute best for everybody. And it's like, you know, working through the KBM stuff, all the kids that he had in the trucks, you know, I know that, you know, sometimes he could be, you know, super critical on them, but that's, you should. We're here in a professional sport, a performance-based business. So whether you're driving, crew chiefing, spotting, if you're not doing 100% what you should be doing, somebody should be getting on your butt about it. And to me, you guys, Tommy, you know, Freddie, like, you guys know my family. So that's the way I grew up racing. You know, we loved each other and we'd do anything we could for each other. But it wasn't always back patting. You know, there was hard conversations on, you know, trips back from Thompson and trips back from Stafford. If I messed up as a spotter, my dad would be on me about, hey, you need to do this, or you need to look for that, or this would help, or that would help. But also, as good as my dad was, if I felt that he missed something, it was just hard conversations back and forth. But that's how you get better. So, and I appreciated Kyle. Like, there's some people that would take that stuff personally, or, you know, sort of cower or back down, but was it a little rough around the edges sometimes? Sure. But you had to, like, break off the shell and get to the underlying message to, hey, you know, KBM was his pride and joy for sure. You know, he wanted that to be super successful, and, you know, putting people in place to make it that way. So it just, you know, you had to look under the rough edges to get the underlying message. But the underlying message was always, I know you can do it. So you have the potential to do it. So let's do it. What do we have to do to get this right? So, but yeah, just on the radio, yeah, you get fired up. And there was times I'm like, but you know, it's fine. Yeah,
Hold the button down.
Yeah, I had to hold the button down a little bit. But yeah, but I know where it was. I understand where it was coming from, the frustration and when things weren't going right, because he put as much pressure on himself to, like, I know I'm good, and I should be up front. So when I'm not, like, what do I need to do? What do we got to do to make this better? So, you know, sometimes it would snowball a little bit, but, you know, over time, that's when I come in, you hear all the rumors, like, you know, Kyle's one of the best in the sport, but he doesn't have the mental game to be a champion, you know, to be able to do it overseas. And so that was a work in progress. But if you tell Kyle Busch he couldn't do something, look out, because it was coming, and he was going to do whatever he needed to do it. And he proved everybody wrong. You know, 2-time champion, like I said, Mount Rushmore drivers, one of the best ever all time to do it, not just in NASCAR, but I would say in any form of racing.
Yeah, you know, I'm not overly emotional, but, like, I feel like a lot of times with me, especially, even like my dad passed away a couple years ago, and, like, I was sad that my dad passed away, but I was okay. I can contain myself. But then, Tommy, when you see, like, the reaction of other people, like I still get choked. I get, like, the Facebook memory will pop up, and I'll read the post about my dad, and I get choked up to this day, like, reading everybody else, how he affected everybody else. And I think that's what the biggest thing I took away from this weekend was just seeing the effect that Kyle had on so many people across this sport. Like, I mean, the world.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching the Golf Channel the other day, and they stopped for a moment of silence on the Golf Channel. I mean, so it spread wider than I think our sport. And, you know, to touch on what Tony said, it's like how aggravating it was during that time when he was doing that. And look, we have to be clear, like, there's only a select few in our sport or any other sport that can command that type of thought process, right? And it's only commanded because of how really good he was. He started out winning races from the get-go. So he could command that. He demanded that. So it was easier for him to steer that and create that sense around him, right? And nobody liked it, right? Until now, right? Unfortunately, he's passed away. And everyone's like, oh my God, look at all the people he's touched. Look at all the races he won. I got to thinking about, the guys won not only all the cup races and the truck races and the O'Reilly, Xfinity, Busch, whatever they were at the time. Look at all the big races he late model races he won all up and down the Northeast. It's like the guy just went to go entertain, and you didn't realize that. He went to go. He wanted to win everywhere he went, but he was at a point in his life that I think he understood what he's supposed to do, right? Not only with Brexton, but with the whole racing world. Look at the accomplishments. If you work really hard, this is what you're capable of doing. I'm going to go down and race with these kids. I'm going to show them that the same mentality and keep growing the sport. And it's like, you never think of that stuff, right? You don't think of that stuff until, unfortunately, we know after the fact, right? You never go back because you're only in the moment, right? You're only thinking like, man, this guy's, this guy, but it's like, now you're like, holy cow, right? And it changes. It's unbelievable how everybody's perspective of Kyle have changed with his passing, right? It's like, now they get it. But how many people are going to be able to come in and do what he did, how he did it? No.
I remember when Kobe Bryant died, Tony Reali, who used to host Around the Horn, said, it's okay to be impacted by the loss of someone you didn't know because a part of you passes too. And for all the fans who were wearing Kyle shirts this weekend, even the race fan in me was hurting. And I'll steal a line from Jeff Gluck. The one thing that, again, this is the race fan talking, that really breaks my heart is that his body of work will forever be unfinished. We'll never know what the final total is going to be to his success, but that impact that you were talking about and the shift towards the end of his career, I think, is a broader part of his legacy than just the results.
That will be his body of work. I know, Tony, you mentioned how many years you worked for him, but how hard was it when you had to make the choice whether to go with him or stay where you were at that point, dealing with him all those years?
Yeah, it was really difficult, and obviously it was a lot of late nights and discussions, and looking, plotting out pros, cons, pluses, minuses. It was really hard for me because, like I said, Kyle and his family were like family to me, but also JGR, they treated me well for that whole time along the way. So I sort of had like two families that I didn't didn't really want to choose. I had to choose. Really didn't want to pick sides, but it was. It was a really difficult, a lot of difficult conversation. I talked with my dad about it a lot. Talked with some of my closest friends on like what they thought, and nobody can really answer that for you. So it was it was a couple of weeks of what should I do, but like I said, JGR as a whole has treated me beyond excellent for all the years that I've been there. This is 15 years that I've been there, and just felt that was family. I knew everybody there. They all treated me well. They made me feel welcome every week. And obviously having the opportunity to work with Ty, I think the world of Ty, just, where he's, the success that he's had at such a young age, and to be able to keep working with him, I just thought at the time that was my best bet, my best play. Just on, I'm a creature of habit, really, honestly, more than anything. It's the Hirschman way.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
So yeah, just I knew how my travel worked. Being up in Pennsylvania, I knew how my travel worked. I knew how the the inner workings of JGR worked and how just the processes. And so rather than retrain myself, I just felt more comfortable staying at JGR. Yeah, I would have loved to have worked with Kyle as well. But I just made the decision over a couple of weeks to stay at JGR, and we're 15 years in now and still going. And obviously Ty's this year, he's same thing. He's really showing everybody what he's capable of and the consistency and how far he's progressing. And I'm super proud of him and super proud of the team that, again, we're just all pulling the rope in the same direction, and everything's there. Everything's in place to be successful. Just like I said earlier with Kyle, when you have all the parts and the pieces to be successful, it's on us to figure it out. What do I got to do as a spotter to help out, or what do we got to do as a team? And obviously things are clicking and the results are showing.
Kyle, talk to me a little bit about Kyle. So Kyle was the ultimate villain. He played that villain role, and nobody will ever do it better than he did it for that, amount of time, whatever it was, 10, 15
You're doing
years.
a pretty good job on the modified side.
But yeah, we learned from him, essentially. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is the stuff Kyle does behind the scenes. Like, he doesn't want you hear the stories this week about calling Suarez every week, during his first rookie year and helping him. I mean, what he did for Bubba was unbelievable, but he didn't want that stuff. Like, he didn't want to put himself he didn't want to even know, really. I don't think it was just he wanted to help these guys, but it wasn't like making it I'm helping this guy or whatever. It was, and I feel like that was across the board. I mean, we saw yesterday there was 10 guys in the Cup race or Sunday that came directly from KBM. So talk about that a little bit, because I feel like he was always the kind of guy. Obviously he had that bravado, he had that villain role, but there was a side of Kyle where he would help anybody and really didn't want it known, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. That's I wish everybody could have seen the off camera Kyle, the behind the scenes camera, like when he came to my dad's shop there one time, just when he walked in, and just the questions he would ask, Matt was working on his car, and at that point I think Matt's car was maybe 13, 14 years old, and Kyle's like, hey, how old is this car? Matt's like, we built it in 03, and Kyle's like, 13? And Matt's like, no, 2003. So Kyle's like, well, how many races do you have on it? And Matt's like, I don't know, 100 some. And then Kyle's like, well, our average lifespan of our cars is 2.4 races or 2.3 races. So my dad just over there shaking his head. But yeah, it's all the behind the scenes stuff. I know Kyle helped Matt out. When he run the SRX race, he got the opportunity to run that. He helped Matt out with that some. And I know he's helped just the short track stuff and the behind the scenes stuff, and doesn't want notoriety for that. And that's hard to come by. Anytime I would ever pick up the phone and call and ask a question, hey, what do you think about X, or can you help with this? It was never let me think about it, let me get back to you. It's like, yeah, let's make it happen. What do we need to do? And I'll always be grateful for that. And even from what we do, everything was evolving over time. Even it wasn't just 1 year. It's 11 years in, we were talking how can I be better? How can we work better together? What do you need more from my end? So it was always evolving, and it was just an open good conversation and relationship on. He wanted me to be better, I wanted to be better, he wanted to be better. What do you see? So just over time, that's how you succeed, really, by always trying to improve. You never get stagnant, never we're good enough. It was always wanting to be better.
Yep. Yeah, he was one of the best, and we could sit here for the next 2 hours talking about Kyle Busch.
The most hated victory lane celebration is going to become the most iconic and the most respected, and it's going to happen all over the country forever from this point on. That everybody in the beginning was pissed off at him about doing, right? Was arrogant. Was there? Well, you know what? That's Kyle Busch,
Yep.
And here we are, and now the whole world is going to be bowing,
Eric, I'm going to count on you to cheer us up here a little bit. Talk to me about the broadcast. Obviously, you've been doing this forever. We've known each other a really long time, back Wall Stadium days. Talk about the prep that goes into it, and then the broadcast itself, because obviously you knocked it out of the park this weekend. So talk to me just about all the prep stuff, everything.
It was a little bit of information overload, because it seems like the higher you get, it's probably this same thing with spotting or racing, the more resources you have. So with the truck race compared to some of the ARCA stuff or the car store stuff that we do, there was just so much data available, and you could...
Yeah, you get my dinky little production notes every Thursday for the car store race.
Which is awesome.
You got 2 sheets, and then you probably go to all these screens and stuff.
Yeah, and there's just full page information on everyone. So it was a little bit of information overload at first, but outside of that, just having the ability to know a lot about the competitors goes a long way. Being at the track, I love it, because I could get some storylines from people right there on the spot. So my preference is to be at the Speedway. I'll answer that now. But calling the race is kind of the easy part, because I'm a race fan. And people have said, do you want to do anything else other than racing? And honestly, no. Racing has always been it for me, because it's the one thing that will give me that constant range of emotions in watching something take place. And I know how much man hours goes into it. And I come from a blue collar family myself. So, being able to narrate not only what's happening on track, but also the life component as well, it's just so cool. And even learning over the weekend, everyone's individual incentives to want to win, most of them all being for Kyle or in honor of Kyle, to have the chance to kind of share that story and then have all the information to back it up with. It's a privilege, an absolute privilege, and I love it.
How did you end up wanting to do this? I mean, I know all the announcers, Earl and Gary and all them at Wall, but I remember you doing this was back in, I don't even know what, late 2000s maybe or something like that. But how did you come up with this? You're just a kid from Staten Island. There's no racetracks in Staten Island.
Yeah, we almost had one. We tried. I was the one person at the pro rally to get the racetrack built there, but that didn't work. But the short answer is I broke my leg when I was about 8 years old running through the house, and I was tied up all summer, couldn't go in the pool, couldn't go outside. We lived on the upper floor of a 2-family apartment, so I couldn't get up and down the stairs, and I found a race, and by 2000 I was hooked. And the reality was we were too poor to race. We went to a go-kart track behind Englishtown Dragway. They had a go-kart track behind the grandstands there, and we bought a book of how to get started in karting, and it was $10,000. We didn't even have a car. I mean, we took the MTA bus to go to the supermarket and the mall, and so it became kind of obvious, okay, I'm never going to be able to race. And by the time I was 14, I started yelling at the TV, watching the races. And then I was doing the same work my dad was. I was an electrician. I was cutting school at age 16 to go change ballasts in commercial buildings. And we both got laid off in 08, 09. And I was like, I got to do something different. And I went to a broadcasting school, 4-month program, walked out of there, went to Wall and announced at Wall up until I met my now wife. And she was brave enough to move south with me to kind of chase this thing. So I still have a full-time job.
You're still an electrician.
Yeah, still doing stuff.
Changed a breaker out of my house recently.
But
I didn't know that. I got some for you to do.
Give me a call. Yeah, you ain't have to pay me. Just if you got something liquid, I'm good.
One other question I
beer.
had for you before we move on to this weekend. There's kind of a debate going on in the media this the recent last couple weeks. Studio broadcasting versus at the racetrack. I saw J.R. Houston tweeted Eric's calling wrecks before the TV's showing them. I think you need to be at the racetrack. I would assume that you would agree with that.
I prefer it, and I'll tell a story from last year. So for some of the ARCA standalones, they send us to those. So which is cool because I get to see Salem, Madison, some of these racetracks that I probably would never see otherwise. I actually get to go and look at them climb the banking going into one at Salem. I walked into Butterbean's hauler last year at Salem, and he was on the floor with a rag over his face, sick as a dog. And I'm like, man, are you good? He's like, yeah. I said, what, do you want me to mention you're not feeling well? He's like, only if I run bad. And he ended up winning. But I would have never known that he was feeling that way
if you weren't there.
If I wasn't there. So, I mean, the studio is great, and it's very convenient to be home, in a quick amount of time once we wrap up. But the crux of the stories are at the track. Mm-hmm. And the same thing, the Toledo finale, when Max and Butterbean were just knocking the crap out of each other, I could see the crowd all get on their feet, and then I could say, as the crowd comes to its feet, and then build a storyline off that. In the studio, it's hard to read the energy. So my preference is to be at the Speedway, but I understand it's a business. I mean, TV as a whole is a business. Everything's a business. The sport's a business. So, and we're seeing it on the stick and ball side. There's a lot of, baseball and hockey teams that they're not sending their teams on the road anymore. They'll do it from their home stadium and just watch a monitor. And, it kind of stinks that COVID kind of proved that you could do more with less, even less pit reporters, even less cameras. And, I like to think that eventually it's going to swing back the other way, but for now, it's the way it is.
Obviously, some controversy this weekend with lengths of races and rain and all of the
this
things.
This is when Hirschman's psychology major
We're going to need it.
I was
didn't
using
have
it myself this weekend.
He needed it for himself.
Yeah, he needed it for himself on Friday night or on Saturday, whatever it was.
I can imagine that comes in so handy sometimes.
I think we'll get to the length of races and spot on, spot off. But I do want to give credit to, honestly, a lot of great pit calls this week is what determined races. We knew in the truck race we were racing to a certain time, 34, and I think the 91 did 2 tires, the 11, 17, we did 4, and we ran out of chances to get there just with cautions and time, unfortunately. But, same thing. We saw that Sunday with the 7 car. Great call by Sparks to get him to lead, and he defended it. Where do you got to be, Tommy, to take that risk of I'm just going to go for it and hope this works out? Because the 7, he was back there with us most of the day, and then the next thing you know, he's up there leading on 2 tires and hangs on.
Yeah, they fought all night. They had issues all night. I think they had some tire issues going on during the run, and that place is known for 2 tires. I mean, taking 2 and be able to get in that clean air. I don't know why, but a lot of races have been won. A lot of gambling at the end of the races to finish very well have been accomplished by taking 2 tires. So that place has a good record. So kudos to Sparks. Ryan Sparks did a really good job calling it, and I'm surprised not many others did it. He took a gamble on the weather, right? Because if it didn't happen, it was only a matter of time before those guys were going to swallow him up. But he did. I mean, Suarez did an awesome job on the restarts, man. I mean, if it wasn't for his restart and, how he restarted both those times, those guys going into one, if they had any sniff of his right rear wheel well opening, it was going to be done. But he did a good job singling himself out, making the line he needed to take to win the race.
Yeah, and there was a couple times, Hirsch, where I looked up and Denny was next to him, going by him, and the yellow come out to the rain. And it's like it's a bit, but just that's the way the cookie crumbles, right? At some point.
Yeah, that's you can only race it when you're under green flag conditions. So if there's rain, if there's mist, if there's lightning, whatever it is. That's just the way the racing gods smile on you sometimes.
Truck race, big wreck with Corey, and that could have been a lot worse.
I thought he was clearing the wall.
Thank God he didn't.
Real time.
Listen, I think he owned it in his interview that he threw a really bad block, and
a lot of those this weekend.
I was going to say.
Yeah, it was just. I mean, it was silly for I don't know. Especially there was probably, 80, 90 laps to go, and we were running like 10th. It wasn't for the lead or anything, but I think the spotter was calling inside, so I don't really know why he did it. But he's a hard nosed racer, and that's kind of the way he always runs. So, but that just put himself in a bad spot. But we're lucky that it didn't get any worse than it was. Luke, can we slap the shit out of Luke again?
It's not his fault, man.
What do you mean it's not his fault?
And then his truck caught fire?
Well, but no,
I'm reading what it says. Luke's truck catches fire.
The fact that he drove into the wall on the first lap might be a little his fault.
It wasn't the first lap, but yeah.
All right, what was it, the second lap?
Yeah.
Engine just blew, right? I would assume
360 miles on it. I mean, it's just poor Luke.
I'm not.
Poor Luke.
I texted him last night. I said, I want you at the shop at 7, and you just work until I get there. Oh boy.
Xfinity race, Tony. I think we'll stick to the winner for now. Spot on, spot off. We'll get to the other
all the deets.
Shit show. Right now, I couldn't even tell you who won that race. Who won the race?
Who did
Ross
win?
Chestnut.
Oh yeah, Ross. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. What a wrecked race car.
Yeah.
The only reason I know that is because we have a beer toast on Wednesday. I got the team's message this morning.
But yeah, the race was what it was. We'll get to that later. Congrats to Ross though. They did a good job. Lightning delay.
What the was that? I have a legitimate question because I sat down and watched the Coke 600 from start to finish for the very first time in a long time, like at home. And I was entertained. Like I will say overall, like as a fan, even when there was nothing going on, I was intrigued. Like I thought it was entertaining from pit calls, all of it. And then it's like getting really good, and we're almost to the end, and we're getting all of a sudden lightning, and then there's no lightning.
What they do, a replay? In the office there?
I don't know what.
I thought the rule was like if there's lightning in the area.
So it's supposed to be within 8 miles, right?
Yeah,
8 mile strike.
30 minutes.
The 30-minute delay. We're out there racing. Me and Hirsch on the roof. We could see the lightning off over behind the drag strip, and like we trust them. If it's not close enough to worry about, like for us to worry about it, we don't pay attention to it. And we hear the yellow, so I'm like, son of a. This is like 40 to go. Now this is going to be another 30 minutes. It's already like 11:30 maybe or something like that.
The guy's been there for 6 days.
Yeah. And next thing you know, they're like, I noticed usually when that happens, like the first time you pick up the pace car, you come right down pit road. Everybody's got to seek shelter. We stayed out. And I'm like,
I was confused.
Hell's going on? Then they open pit road, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? Like, how do you open pit road? And then, all right, we're clear. I'm like, well, wait a minute, like, what do you mean we're clear? And they said that it was
moving away
from the racetrack, and it was barely within the range. I don't know, but it's just you hate to see. I mean, it decided the race. Essentially, that caution flag, right? I mean, they throw the yellow there.
Because that was right when
Bell was leading. Denny was running him down, and then
passing him.
And then we come down pit road, and Sparks takes 2, and Suarez wins the race. Like we talk about consistency all the time, Tony. Like, we don't understand what's going on up there a lot now.
Yeah, no, even like I said, what I said about the lightning, and I just pretty much got down from my stool.
Your ladder.
My ladder. Yeah. My
You were
ladder.
the highest one.
He was the highest one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This,
I felt the
this
rain
son
first.
of a
First.
If you go on the roof at any racetrack, Hirschman always has a folding chair somewhere up there. He doesn't spot from it most
It's
of
a
the time.
beach chair.
Yeah, he's like
The
a
beach
beach chair.
We got to be comfortable.
And
How old is that chair?
this
About as old as a couple
The
decades.
Hirschman
So-
way.
the
The Hirschman way.
so we all have to go get ladders to spot at Charlotte. Hirsch is like, he's got like a 6-foot ladder with a pad on it, and he's sitting on top of the ladder. I'm like, you son of a you figured it out again.
Yeah.
Yesterday, my feet, my back, everything hurt from standing on a ladder for 5 hours, and he's like, I feel fine. I'm like, you idiot.
You would have lightning rod,
tricks.
though.
I did want to give a shout out SVG.
Yeah,
Wow,
badass.
yeah.
Ran top 10. I think he got stage points every stage. I don't think he got the finish he probably deserved. I think
Absolutely rolling some top. It
Yeah.
was so fun to watch.
it was fun. Magic Mike had a good night. I was giving them after practice. I texted them. I said, qualifying they were fastest in practice. If nobody saw it, I said, qualifying got canceled. You can take that thing out of Q trim now. and he just laughed or whatever. And then they ran top 10 again. Another one that didn't get the finish. They probably deserved because I think they had a loose wheel or something on the last pit stop. But he ran again top 10 for what they have. Tommy, how impressive is that to run?
It's super impressive. I mean, they are on the bottom of the line of the food chain of information, and what they make out of it is it's pretty sporty, man. Yeah. I mean, he texted me in the middle of the race, thank you. I didn't even know what he was thanking me for. I don't know what we did, but maybe we moved over. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention at that point, but yeah. I mean, Magic Mike, sometimes they get on a roll, man. They'll go 3-4 weeks in a row. Then all of a sudden it's like, you got to get some magic back, Mike.
Uses up all his money.
Did Ricky wreck Ross? I didn't see this. I saw a bunch of people tweeting about it, but
Essentially.
Essentially.
Not
I don't think
like
it was
an intentional-
No,
No.
like Ross cleared him up off of 2, and I think Ricky had a little bit of run, like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm here. And once he got into him, it just hooked Ross right away.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it
I think
must
he
have
And
was-
he didn't hit him square. Like, I think if he would have hit him a little more square, it maybe wouldn't have been
No,
so.
I don't think that mattered, but I think he was like, I'm coming, move over. And Ross...
He moved over.
Yeah, after he hit him. But at that point, what do you guys say, right? Tony, what do you say? When you see a car coming off with that much speed versus what you have, do you say, what, hold your line, or what do you guys say?
Like, the way that I do it, like, especially when
Hirsch
you
says
have...
block him. Block.
Yeah, I love saying block on the radio. That's just... like, I just let him know, like, when the guy's running the top, if he's coming with a run, I'm like, you're clear by two. And then if they have run, like, by 1, by half. So, like, they know how quick that they're coming. So it's honest. They always say the driver has the wheel and the pedals. But yeah, I mean, if it's not, when they have that big a run at that point in time, that you got to live to fight another corner sometimes. So you can throw a block like we talked about earlier, but we talked about Corey Day in the truck race. He blocked us on lap 1.5. Like, we went into 3 and 4 once we got the second, and we tried to drive up outside of him, and he just started unwinding the wheel and, like, running us up the hill. And I just like smart. And we finally pedaled it and got out of it, or else, there's like lap 2, both of us could have been in the fence. So there's a time and a place to protect your position. But for what we do, they got to know that the big run's coming. Like, big run, or like when they, if we bobble or something like that, you got to know that big run's coming. And I always advocate just to hold your line. Let them make the move, because more often than not, you'll get yourself in trouble trying to protect it when you don't have the momentum to do it.
So with you saying that, right, he did hold his line. What was the proper thing for Ricky to do?
Just go underneath
Cross
him.
him.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, what happened? I mean, did he lose it for a second? Said no. I mean, or did something happen before? And usually with Ricky, something happened.
2 years ago.
Something happened. I mean, and, obviously, a lot of people think they owe Ross, but Ross is a changed driver, right? He is not doing that as much as he used to. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
In that situation, I wouldn't even say it was like a tight clear. Like, he was clear
Yeah, he
by
was clear.
like 3/4 car length. So it's not like he sawed his nose off at exit
Right.
2 and then he poked him there. Like, they wrecked halfway down the straightaway,
Exactly,
or quarter
yeah.
way down the straightaway. So I think it was just, like I said, just a miss. He just wanted to get in the back of him, let him know, like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah,
and
and
just
sent
got him
them.
off center.
Before we get into Spot On, Spot Off, we wanted to let you know about Dirty Mo Media's newest show.
This Cowboy Life features Jerome and Tiffany Davis, PBR's Royal Couple, Carson.
The show is all about bull riding, the Carolina Cowboys, raising bucking bulls, and stories from Jerome's Hall of Fame career.
Here's a look at the trailer.
Bring the energy. Wake up.
I can tell that through all these stories, through all your world championship, I know that in your head you've always said, I'm going to be a podcaster one day.
I hope that at the end of the day that it'll bring somebody that hasn't really been around this life that we live, and it brings them to a whole new world. And somebody will say, dang, maybe them Cowboys ain't so bad after all.
I think if you can bring some smiles. I love to hear Jerome's stories and just how he carries himself. So I'm all about if people can get a grin out of it, if they can smile a little bit.
What's it going to be like, Jerome, to have Tiffany as a co-host to a podcast?
Whoa, man.
See this gift of gab I have, maybe it'll come in a little handy on this deal.
If I can keep Tiffany quiet every now and then so she'll let me talk, we'll be in good shape.
The only bad thing is I'm going to have to hear your stories that I've heard 100 million times. I'm going to have to hear them another time.
And they just get better every time.
Yeah, they do get a little more added into them every time.
I don't know why she puts up with me and why she helps living this life that we go through, but she does, and she's awesome.
March 14th, 1998. From when they open the gate to when you get hit, what do you remember from that?
The bull I had that night was Knockabout John, and I'd been on him before, and he had hit me in the face in Vegas one time. So I knew that I had to really stay over the front end and try not to let him hit me in the face. As it worked that night, he got me rocked back and hit me in the face and knocked me out. And when he did, I dove in the ground and broke my neck. Went from being at the top of my game to the worst part of my life, all happened within a gate opening at a bull riding.
I was mad at God because I was like, why did you do this to Jerome? He's a good guy. You needed him on your team out here.
We were supposed to be getting married in May. But right after I got hurt, I was at the hospital, and I told Tiff, I said, I don't think this is going to work. We need to regroup. This is not the trail you need to be going down. And if she would have left that day, I wouldn't have blamed her. You know what I mean? And I never would have said a bad word about her.
I never gave thought about leaving. That wasn't an option because I still had Jerome.
I couldn't talk her into it, so I was kind of glad she hung around, I'll be honest. I lived through it, and it just made me tougher, and I was able to make a pretty good living at the sport. It's been good to me. When I look around and see, everything that's here today, it all comes from the love of the sport. I mean, everything I wanted to do had to do with being a cowboy.
What is going on with the birds over there?
You just messed this whole shot.
I'm going to redo it, but the birds messed the whole shot up, not me. I thought we was getting ready to get attacked.
You're like that dog that...
I thought the birds was coming after us. There was so many of them.
Just stay focused. It's going to really bring a new light to what this cowboy life's really about.
Carson, I met Jerome and Tiffany at our fan day. Mike was kind enough to introduce us. I mean, what a storied career for Jerome. Do you think there's any way Jerome could talk you into getting on one of these bulls?
Oh, absolutely. I need somebody to send me his phone number because that's on my bucket list. So Jerome, call me. I'll hop on one tomorrow.
Do you think you could stay on for the full 8 seconds?
I'm going to be overzealous, and I think I could. I think with Jerome's coaching, I probably could. I mean, if they're PBR royalty, he can get me through it.
Yeah, I mean, great people, unbelievable story. You got to tune into this one. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Episodes begin June 24th, and you can subscribe to Dirty Mo Rodeo on YouTube and follow them on all social platforms to keep up. And make sure to follow This Cowboy Life wherever you get your podcasts.
Spot on. Spot on.
All right, spot on, spot off. Kyle Busch should instantly be added to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Ready?
Well, I'm going to say spot off. I mean, he should be. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, but I want to say spot off just for the fact that I want Kyle to be, and this is a call out to all you and everybody else in that room, I want Kyle to be the first unanimous selection to the Hall of Fame. So I think he should, whatever the waiver period is that he's got to wait for retirement, should be waived. He should be on the ballot for next year, and anybody that doesn't vote for him gets their hard card taken away, essentially.
Period.
That's just the way I feel about it. Yes, I saw, I think Jeff and Jordan were talking about this. Like Roberto Clemente died in a plane crash, and they kind of waived it and had their own special vote for him just by himself. And I mean, they could do that for Kyle. Then he will definitely be 100% because there's nobody else to vote for, essentially. But I really want him to go through the process. And even timing-wise now, like, it doesn't feel right to just add him in there when everybody's still kind of grieving and stuff. Like, let it kind of settle, and then he should start collecting his accolades, I think.
I'll say this. Knowing Kyle, like when he would roll to the racetrack on a weekend, he wouldn't want to just be handed the trophy. And I think he likes going through the part of what drove him and what got him fired up was going through the process and just going out and showing everybody like, hey, I'm a badass and I'm going to go out and earn this trophy. So like with the I agree with like the maybe waiving the couple year retirement thing, but I think Kyle would appreciate more going through the process and having everybody like, this guy's one of the greatest of all time. And like you said, the 100%, like there shouldn't be anybody that says Kyle Busch does not go into Hall of Fame this year. So I think he would appreciate it more. Obviously, he's earned it. I don't want to misspeak or word it improperly, but I think he would get more of enjoyment out of it, seeing everybody go there and vote, and everybody's telling good stories, and then be like, "Yep, Kyle, you're in," because we all think you've earned it, and everybody in this room agrees with that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to be. Listen, you better vote for it.
I was gonna say you're in the room.
Listen, yeah, I mean, I agree with both you guys. I mean, I think it is too early. I mean, it's devastating, right? Let's give the people that earned it right now a chance to enjoy that. The only thing I hope that we all come to agreement is allow 3 in next year. All right, because there's.
It's the same thing that keeps happening. Like
right. Let's just this is the Kyle Busch is in. Okay, Martin Truex is going to be, part of it. All right, let's do 3, not just 2, because then you're going to have, Yeah.
Eric, as a race fan, I have said on here before, and the number changes. I think it's at 234 now. 234 career NASCAR wins, top 3 series. Is that a more impressive stat than Richard Petty's 200 Cup wins?
Well, I look at Kyle and the fact that, I mean, how many rules did he make? Did NASCAR have to change for him?
Yeah.
There was the age thing at California back in 2000 because Marlboro was sponsoring the IndyCar race that weekend, and they wouldn't let him run the truck. Then there's the number of races in the lower series. How many more would he have won if they didn't do that? And then Steve O'Donnell said at the media briefing that Kyle texted him Tuesday and said, you should really have an over 40 rule because I want to run the whole truck season. And he probably would have been the first driver ever to win a championship in all 3 series. And also I think the era that Kyle did it in has been tougher, the toughest and the most competitive that we've ever seen our sport. So not to take anything away from what Richard accomplished and the number of times that they were racing in a calendar year back then, I would say so.
Yeah, I agree. Hirsch, you agree with that? you won 100 of them. So.
Yeah, how many did you win?
95. With the 95. But
Plus the late model stuff?
Those are just points paying ones. I don't count the All-Star race and the clashes in the Open.
I seen somebody else had 234 plus 102. 102 possibly with all the other races he won.
Like local stuff.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of people had some pictures of that of 234 plus 102.
Maybe that's the legend car, B mains, and all those things that we were starting to try to stretch for Rowdy Nation.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, number 2, the Coca-Cola 600 trophy goes home to Kyle Busch Motorsports. Spot on, spot off. Eric?
I mean, spot on.
Yeah.
And also, I love what Spire did with putting the KBM logos on the trucks this weekend. That was really cool to see. They did have like a KBM class reunion photo for those who were at the track, not just drivers, but team members as well. Obviously, really somber moment there, but very fitting. It goes back to that building, that shop. And I mean, I've heard many people say it, and Freddie, you said it earlier, and KBM was his pride and joy. And I know I've heard from a lot of people that when they had to make the decision to sell the race team, it was tough for them, but they certainly left like the footprints on the hearts of everyone who worked in that shop. So super fitting. Also, I saw that, kind of ironic, Suarez was in the booth when Kyle won the truck race last week too. So bit of a unique, commonality there, but definitely spot on. I'm really happy for that group, and it's kind of cool that it goes back to that shop.
You think it's on Andy G's desk? Andy G. So for a lot of people who don't know, Andy G was like Kyle's right hand man for the longest time. He works at Spire now, so he essentially never left the building. He was a KBM forever. KBM shut down. G worked, so we're working for Spire, and I hope he's got the same office. But it's just so cool to see it go back to that building tone, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, we had that KBM reunion there. So to see whatever on the out there racing, to have one of the old KBM drivers and somebody that Kyle helped along so much, and then have the trophy go back to that shop. That was, I know he put so much time and so much effort into making that place successful and filling that place up with trophies, not only as a driver but as an owner. So I know there's definitely some pride there to have that trophy on this weekend go back to that place.
Anybody?
Oh boy, here we go.
Anybody? Okay, all right. Yeah, this next one should take up the next 30 minutes of our show.
Start off, Tony. Spot off. Just go right to him.
Tony, spot on, spot off. It would have been better to postpone the O'Reilly race than to run a shortened one in misty conditions.
Everything's great. Just looking forward to coming next weekend.
Giving the old Kyle.
Yeah.
Just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah.
or random.
Yeah. No, everything's great. Just looking forward to getting back in Nashville.
I think that, listen, we know what they were trying to accomplish. We know that if that race doesn't get in, that pushes the truck race to Monday, and you kind of drag the weekend out a little bit longer. It was already a miserable weekend to begin with. There's no guarantees we could race on Monday because the weather was not great that day either on Saturday. I think they had the right intentions to start, and the mist wasn't the problem. The fog was the problem. And Jason Brownlow called me. He was driving around the racetrack with Allgaier in a pace car. Allgaier called Eddie DeHunt, his spotter. Brownlow called me, and he's like, "Can you see us?" And I was like, "Yes." I said, "You're also driving a white car with flashing lights on it." So right. I said that helps. But I think when we started, we could manage it. Like, it wasn't. We could see them. It wasn't great, but we could manage it, and it was fine. It got much worse as we went. I would say by the start of the second stage, probably it was, you couldn't really see 1 and 2 at all. You couldn't see the backstretch. They know it. They have the same point of view we do. I think that, first of all, some of the drivers were not helping themselves. You know what I mean? I made it clear to Dean. I assume everybody made it clear to their drivers. Can't really see you. It's hard to see. So when you start poking 4 wide down the backstretch and trying to fill tight holes, we see massive wrecks like we saw. That's kind of on the drivers for me, but where the big problem I think came in was the 35 blows up. Nobody knows it because we can't see it. He's over there in 1 and 2. Hocevar was the only person that knew we were going to wreck. He saw the guy blow up, drove by smoking, got his phone out, said, "I saw the guy blow up. I knew nobody else knew it. I'm going to film this because they're all going to go in here and crash." And that's what happened. And even during the cleanup, we don't know. The corner worker called in. It was turn 2, tracks clear, keep an eye on the 35 because he was, limping down the back straightaway. And unfortunately, that wasn't accurate. The track was not clear. He probably, not to the corner worker's defense, probably couldn't see it. It's hard to see smoke through fog. Yeah. You're not going to see it. So and then obviously we all go in there, we crash. That was directly on NASCAR. That's something that we can't have happen. You were collected in that. I mean, I know that's when I heard a ladder go flying, some other happened up there, but
allegedly.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant.
The wind did that.
That was the biggest problem I saw Saturday night
for sure. And I told Jason on our channel too, the 35 definitely he smoked for sure, but for our vantage point, he could have had a catastrophic engine failure like Luke did, and we wouldn't have been able to tell the difference between smoke and the fog. So there was no way for us to help in that situation, and obviously, their corner workers couldn't tell either. But it definitely got worse, and of course, I had one of the red, white, and blue cars, which I'm
one of the 30.
Yeah, so it was really hard for me to differentiate on, especially up off of 2, which car was which. I just knew what lane we were in, but when they were, in the fog and the lights and the glare and everything else, it was really, really difficult for us. And talking with Fisher, I know what the point was. I know we were trying everything we could do to get to halfway, and I appreciate the effort. All the time they spent trying to dry the track, but in hindsight, we should not be on a sliding scale on, like, we've been at the racetrack for 15 hours, so because visibility's half of what we normally can see, we're going to keep going. Where if we were there just, to start the race off, we wouldn't have gone. Like Snowball Derby last year, for instance, we were down there and it was the same thing. Low cloud, foggy, misty. They got the track dry. We rolled out for the pace laps, and obviously we couldn't see the cars clearly. You see outlines or shapes, but it was not ideal conditions. So the tower couldn't see him downstairs. We couldn't see him on the spotter stand. So they brought everybody down and said, listen, it's not safe to go because the tower can't see if something happens. The spotters can't see if something happens. So we're gonna call it for the night. We're gonna come back and try again tomorrow in better conditions. So, if we do that for the Snowball Derby, I know this weekend was a lot more packed, but I would have liked to. Would have preferred to be racing in better conditions for not just us, but for the drivers, for the teams, because we all put a lot of effort in to get that race in on Saturday, but the teams put a lot of effort in for weeks leading up to it, preparing cars, and a lot of money spent, and a lot of people that are there. Everybody deserves a fair shot to go out and maximize their weekend and not have stuff like that, running into an oil slick. Because if for some reason we went back green, Ross was hurt.
Yeah, he was going to pit.
We happened to just hit at a wrong angle where it broke our right front upper. There was a lot of guys that were wounded. So, you can't have half the field because we missed something, and can't have half the field forfeit their race and all their time and effort that went into it just because we're trying to get another 20, 30 laps in.
Yeah, and obviously our sport is first and foremost about safety. And it was unsafe, and it probably crossed the line of something we shouldn't be doing because, like you said, what we're trying to do. But Eric, put your race fan hat on for a second. You're in the grandstands. You've been sitting here all day long. Like, what do you want to see it happen in that moment if you put yourself in their position?
I would have wanted it to get pushed just so that way I could see a natural finish.
Because the fans couldn't see.
Yeah.
I was going to say they couldn't see either.
So our original plan was to start the truck race 8 a.m. on Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah.
That didn't happen. Then the plan was going to be to run it after the O'Reilly race. And then they said, well, the latest that will start is like 11:20 was the time they gave us. So it was 9:45. They just called the O'Reilly drivers back to their cars. And I'm hanging out at Speedway Club with some Canadian race fans who were a blast. The problem was the forecast Sunday and Monday just was as unpredictable as Friday and Saturday were. So I understand the box they were in. I also thought back to Chicago for the O'Reilly race the first year they ran there, where that was the first time I believe ever that they did confirm a race to be complete before it hit the halfway or end of stage 2 element. Yes. So they have that if and in rare instance wiggle room if they needed it, as opposed to just burning laps under caution or trying to wiggle it in. I
think that was what turned the people off the most was we just burned the last 5 laps under yellow when they could have just, like you said, just easily. All right, we're coming down pit road at lap 85. The race is over. We're not going to do this because I think that even if you did that, you'd see it a little. I mean, it'd still be hateful stuff, but you wouldn't get burned for we just literally in the rain rode around for 5 laps.
Yeah, Chicago's a little different. The street course a little different.
You had to leave. Yeah,
you had to leave.
Yeah,
listen, Charlotte, you didn't.
Listen, rules are rules.
Chicago had different rules.
Right. I was watching the stages of Hirschman on the roof after he crashed, and he was upset.
Do we need a Hirsch cam?
Pax
up there?
Sometimes. He's usually very mellow. This was a different case.
I can't picture you getting
not
mad.
my weekend to be mellow.
So, he was. Yeah, and he was wrecked car. He's mad. He's packing his stuff up. He's getting ready to leave, and he's walking off the roof essentially, right? And tell me what happened.
Yeah, so I was walking off the roof, and it started raining.
It was raining.
Then it was a rain at that point. So I'm walking off, and T-Mon's, the spots for Corey. He's like, Hirsch, you're not going to stay around and watch us spot it up on this restart? I'm like, what do you mean restart? And he says, oh, yeah, we're dubbed up. We're coming back to the green. I say, in the rain? And he's like, oh, yeah, we're going. So I walked up to the railing there, and they called it off really late. But it was at that point, it wasn't just a miss or you couldn't see. It was a rain at that point.
Rain and fog.
So, yeah, luckily we thought better
of
it.
That's a tough weekend for everybody. It was.
It's just, and I think it was. I felt this way. Not that I didn't want to be there. Obviously, I wanted to be there. I was kind of surrounded by your friends, but it was just just to get this over with.
Yeah.
Let's get the out of here.
There's nothing I wanted this weekend to be over.
Yeah,
I gotta be honest with you.
And they felt the same way, I think. And listen, it wasn't ideal, and I think it was the wrong decision. We've heard, from some of the officials that said, like, we apologize for putting you guys through that, and we hope it doesn't happen again. But like, it kind of is what it is. And I knew once we got to like the end of the first stage, I was like, they're kind of pot committed now. They're gonna take this thing to the end no matter what, or call it short. So unfortunate, but that wasn't the only. We didn't stop there, Carson.
And backing up to the truck race should have ended with overtime instead of running caution laps until time ran out.
It should have ended when the checkered flag flew on the. I don't.
It was Eric's fault.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what. Yeah, again, TV and what we all have to do, but we didn't race for another 6 hours for the Cup race. I mean, come on. I mean, and by saying it, telling everybody so early that was going to be the rule, made the drivers unplug, man. I mean, it happens, man. These guys are like, what? I only got 2 hours? I'm going to have to make hay right away. And there's your hence of your 12-lap longest green flag run. I mean, I don't get it, man. I mean, the fans.
Can you remind me why they were put on a clock?
So we start. What I don't understand, and I'm sure it's TV related, time slots, windows, whatever. The race is supposed to be 8 o'clock Saturday morning. I don't know why. If we can only run till 12 o'clock, it was because of TV coverage. They didn't want to run into the Indy 500 coverage because the same network. So we knew. Like, I knew, like, start time, whatever the start time was, we're not going to run very far into the pre-race coverage, and especially because Indy moved up too, right? They didn't move the start time up, or I don't remember, but I know they had weather, so I think they were kind of hustling along also. But like, why didn't we start earlier? Why didn't we start at 9:30? Because listen, at the end of the day, this is still the driver's fault because we haven't had a 2-hour race in I look back 10 years. But you should have gave yourself a little bit more.
Is that why they didn't? What? Why did they not end up running at 8 a.m.? Was it still raining?
It was at times. No, it was dry. Everything was ready Sunday morning, but I'm assuming it was TV time slots.
Okay.
Also, NASCAR knows that those amount of laps should only take 2 hours.
It's like an hour and a half, 40-minute average time for that race. And I look back, I went on J-Ski, I look back to 10 years, and it was never over 2 hours.
Right.
So once you have, I think it was 11 cautions. Like it was
record.
Record cautions. And like Tommy said, though, it's Eric. You're watching the race. It's because these guys, and all of a sudden, Hirsch restarts. Like you see, these guys are on kill because they're like, we have to get to the front now. I only got 20 minutes left. I mean, how hard is that to call? Even in the moment, like you're watching the clock like we are.
Well, and we didn't want to mention on the broadcast until we thought it would be an issue. Like we didn't want to bring it up and worry anyone or worry fans. So we kind of like hid it for a while. And then Trey, who was with NASCAR Insights, he's like, yeah, we're crunching the numbers. We're going to get there. This is going to be a problem. And then we started talking about it. And it's weird because it's supposed to be like motocross rules. When the clock runs out, it's 2 to go, essentially. And then it's, white flag next time by, obviously. But it's hard because the race would have been great if we got an overtime out of it. Like if we could restart it. Again, the fan in me wanted to see what was going to happen because I still don't know who had the best truck between the 11, the 34, and also Eckes was great.
77 had the freshest tires. He was...
Yeah, he came from like 29th for serving the restart penalty up to 6th when that caution fell.
He was third or fourth.
He was third,
yeah. So again, race fan in me wanted to see it end on a green because it would have been wild. But also, I understand if they would have wadded them up on that restart, which they probably would have because they did it all day long. Michael had a good joke. He said the adverse conditions are the way these guys are racing.
For real.
So, I mean, again, Tony directly kind of effed by this call because you're sitting there 4 tires running second, just need one more restart to probably win the race, and you get burned again. But I mean, in that moment, like, what are you talking about with Caden and Zippy? Like how does he break this down? Like, hey, we're just gonna end up like yellow comes out, and I kind of thought like it's over. Like I looked down, it was like 11:56 or something like that, and I'm like, I think they're just gonna run this out. But then we saw Sunday they decided, oh, we have this rule we can invest that we don't have to open pit road. We can just go restart on a yellow. And I'm like, I was telling Jeff on Channel 2, I'm like, that's what we need to do here. We need to just don't open pit road, just line them back up, choose right here, and get a lap in or 2, a green, white checker in. But I mean, I don't know how frustrating it had to be for you again. Yeah, especially after the night before.
Yeah, for sure.
Hirschman had a rough week.
They have a rough week.
Tough week.
They all I know is like we got the second, got clear, and we were running the 34 down. I looked at my watch and I said we have 4 minutes plus 2 laps. And then like the 30, I think we may run 1 or 2 more laps before the 38 spun out. It may have only been a lap. So I know there was still time left on the clock. And when the yellow come out, like I'm like, all right, take care of your fuel and start prepping your tires. And the way we went through the process was like it never even dawned on me that we were going to be out of time because they were like working on lineup, then they were doing Lucky Dog and about
open pit road.
So I'm like, all right, so just keep working on our stuff here to get ready to go back to green. And then whatever, they're moving to Lucky Dog. Then like, all right, next time around, white flag on the 34. And I'm like my heart dropped. I said, I think we're coming around to the white flag. Like we're just finishing this thing off under yellow. And obviously Caden wasn't too thrilled with that news, and Zippy wasn't either. None of us were. So I did think we had enough time to at least, now we may have all went back green and all wadded up in one and wish we wouldn't have gone back green. But I said, for the fans and as good as we were, it would have been at least nice to have a shot at it. Yeah. And I think everybody kind of got robbed a little bit out of a potential good finish. Like put it in the driver's hands. Like, all right, you're going to go out and wreck everything, or you're going to put on a good show here to the end. But finishing under yellow at 40 mile an hour wasn't awesome.
And Tommy, like once they announced that it's 12 o'clock, you can't take that back, right? Because as a crew chief, like the 34 is making decisions on pitch strategy based on we're only going to run 20 laps here. So, like they can't, like I know people were like, well, just add a lap. I'm like, no, once they announced 12 o'clock, which I feel like they did that too soon, but I think in their minds they weren't worried about it because they had 2 hours. But, like I know people were saying like, you could just add a lap. I'm like, no, you can't. Like it's 12 o'clock.
Rule's a rule, right? That's what we all race to. And how pissed, would have flipped. You guys would have been happy, and the 34 would have been pissed, right? Yep. Maybe. Who knows? But I don't know. Just tough all around, man.
Just a miserable weekend, and it
Throw
just
it in the trash.
piled up. It never stopped. It never stopped.
Do something fun.
Actually, I think so. When we're getting ready to move on to Reaction Theater, and I know Freddie had put out a tweet asking for some fun Kyle stories and some stuff like that through the year. So hopefully some fun stuff lies ahead.
I don't normally chime in on the show, but I listened to about 100 messages. The DBC fans, they made me cry, they made me laugh. There's a lot of beautiful stuff in there. So I just wanted to thank all of the Reaction Theater callers for calling in. Even if your message didn't make it in, it meant a lot.
Watch the race. Get your calls in if you're looking for a good time.
I sit here saddened and in mourning for a man that I've never met, but a person I'll never forget. My daughter's favorite stop a few years ago when we were in Charlotte was KBM because they had free M&Ms. Kyle will be missed forever. R.I.P. KFB.
That's why Hirsch went to work over there.
Yeah. Tell you what, the M&M's Day in Hackettstown, my daughter's, that was their biggest holiday of the year.
You asked for favorite KB moments. Mine has to be my youngest son. He was 3, about to turn 4. We took him to his first race in Phoenix. And Kyle came by on the red carpet giving autographs, and my almost 4-year-old son, obviously very short, was kind of behind the guardrail, and there was a lady beside us that yelled at Kyle, "Hey, you got a little one over here," because my son was decked out in Kyle Busch stuff. And, he picked Kyle out all on his own as his favorite driver. And the lady said, "Hey, Kyle, you got a little one over here." And Kyle came over and stopped and signed my son's hat. And afterwards he said, "Why was Kyle writing on my hat?" And that's my favorite memory. It's one of my son's first memories. He still talks about that. He's just turned 8 now.
I hope he still has
He's having
that.
a hard time dealing with this, as you would expect. But he's also really excited to go to the race in Nashville this week. And he's already asked, can we stand up and put our 8 fingers in the air on the 8th lap and all that. So going to really miss Kyle. And just want to let everybody in the Busch family know and everybody in the NASCAR family know that we all love you and we support you guys.
That was beautiful.
All right. We'll get to some funny ones now.
I want to use my favorite Kyle Busch quote that I often use when somebody pisses me off in traffic. And that's, "Keep driving your you little Yeah, keep putting me off on the I'm going to wreck your Rest in peace, Rowdy.
That was before my time.
I used to
Did
love.
you help him with all that?
He never said that under my watch.
I used to love when me and Hirsch were obviously teammates at KBM for a couple years there, and what Bubba would do something to piss Kyle off, and Hirsch would come in, he would tell Freddie to and Hirsch would come down and Kyle said you better. I was like, all right, Bubba's knocking the off, please.
What's going on, fellas? I just want to call on behalf of all of Rowdy Nation that we appreciate the light that DBC has shedded on Rowdy Nation, and thank you to Rowdy for being my childhood, and I think, as Rowdy would agree, as his last win was the 69th win in his Truck Series career. I think all of Rowdy Nation deserves to be lucky this weekend. Rowdy Nation, if you don't have a girlfriend, support the infertility thing. Shoot your loads into a cup at a sperm bank. We create a bunch of mini Rowdies. Of them. Rest in peace, KB, baby. Love you.
My God.
That's perfect.
Yeah, Rowdy Nation, you're off the hook. There was no bigger winner than Kyle Busch, so you guys can get after it all you want. I mean,
we'll give him how many? He won 234.
Yeah.
We'll give Rowdy Nation right now 234.
That's
free passes.
Free passes right now. See, we'll get back to him a year from now. See how many a couple of them used up.
That going back to what you were asking earlier about the stuff that Kyle did behind the scenes, and that was like the Bundle of Joy Fund that him and Samantha do. I want to mention that because they've done so much for so many families over I can't even tell you how many years. So I know, again, like KBM was his pride and joy. I know they put so much effort and time and care into that Bundle of Joy fund and foundation. So that's there's definitely people check out, and if there's anything that we can do down the road to help that out, it helps so many families along the way. So I appreciate that.
2 more quick ones.
Dale way! Dale way! Also, just like the track, my wife ain't dry tonight, I tell you what. Go 7.
What did he say to start? I couldn't understand.
Dalleway.
Dalleway. Oh, I got you. Yeah.
Lightning, 30 minutes. I'm drunk. Going to bed.
No, those are awesome. I love hearing everybody's stories because I think the coolest thing, like, obviously social media has been flooded with everybody's, experiences with Kyle and whatnot. And I think some of my favorite ones to read have been like the kids from Millbridge and the kids he's gotten to know traveling with Brexton Racing. And I remember him and Sam taking Wyatt and their little buddy Chase and then Brexton to Fun City. And they took a photo with Kyle's photo on the wall. I mean, like that normal side where they're just family racing out in the Midwest, and all the little kids that he would take the time to stop and mentor along the way. That was just a really cool side of Kyle to see all these years later.
How about little Larson?
Yeah,
Owen.
Yeah. How about, man, is that incredible of just feeling his buddy's pain? Dude, I mean, he did it on his own. No one pushed him. I watched.
Yeah, he walked right. But that's how much time those kids spend together on the road racing like that. And
Brexton, man, I mean, it's just unbelievable.
There was probably no better trash talker than Kyle, I think, especially like you go see him at Millbridge. I'd go a couple times a year.
Yeah.
But somebody sent a video in, I forget where I saw it. They sent it to me somewhere, and it was Kyle and Kyle were on the grid, like getting ready to push the kids off.
Kyle and Tiny Kyle.
Yeah, Big Kyle and Tiny Kyle, and Kyle Busch is just ribbing Larson because he's wearing like
brand
white
new
shoes.
Vans?
He's like, are you wearing brand new shoes to the dirt track? He's like, what is wrong with you?
I do remember one time where Wyatt rode to this was just a funny, because of Kyle and his career, it was just like, why are you asking this? That Wyatt had rode to the racetrack with them, and Mom had been off to the grocery store getting some other stuff, and so they bought Wyatt's $25 pit pass on the way in or whatever, and Mom and them get there, and Kyle comes running up. He's like, $25. Like, why did you give me the $25? And Mom's like, what the hell, man? So just, regular. They're just as regular as it gets. Those were the funnest memories. All right. To leave an audio message 24/7, you can call our number at 704-802-9572, and we'll play the best ones each week on the show. So besides the weather being a show, what other kind of shows did you guys see this weekend? I saw our boy Chris Wright was back on his.
I don't even know that we need to put a show poll out this week, but yes, Chris Wright is going to win. Like he's back.
I don't know. I feel
instantly blames his spotter. Like there's a guy next to you. You shouldn't even need a spotter to see the guys up alongside of you. But like and listen, people make mistakes. I get it. But when like the thing that really drives me nuts, and Hirsch knows this, and we've seen it 1,000 times. When you instantly just start blaming other people for something that you up is where I get really annoyed, and we see it with Chris, unfortunately, pretty often. So I don't think we need to have a poll this week because it's not the week to do it. But
fair.
But yeah, we can.
We'll just
what are you saying in that moment? Like, how are you on the broadcast not laughing your ass off like this guy again?
Michael, if you go back and watch Michael said something along the lines of like, "Yeah, that's strange."
That is like, are there times, like I'm sure like car store races, and even especially when those turn into a show, quote unquote, like are there times where you have to like stop yourself from having like a superhuman reaction to something where like something you shouldn't say on air? Like how often does that happen?
One that stands out, and I hate to pick on him, but when McKee dumped Yarborough at Martinsville last year, like just right hooked him at the start finish line, like that, I think I said in real time, "What in the world?" Because it was as blatant as it could be, but. Yeah, there are times where, and also because I'm a fan at heart,
right?
So there's some organic, thoughts and emotions, and there's people that I know in the sport, and I want to see them do well, and I got to suppress that a little bit, but sometimes it's hard.
That would probably be my biggest
I don't help because I usually anything something stupid happens, I'm texting him and Blake like, "Hey, you idiots!"
Leave them alone. They're busy. They're busy.
Hey, everybody, this is Dale Jr., and for the latest DBC gear, go to shop.dirtymomedia.com. We've added some new shirts. There's one called Win or Lose, We're Drinking Booze. Everything seems to be about drinking here at Dirty Mo Media. Go check it out now.
All right, time to move on to Ask DBC. These are questions submitted by our fans. And the first one we touched on a little bit earlier was how hard was it to spot with all the red, white, and blue paint schemes this weekend?
And all my cars were red, white, and blue this week. I'm like, of course they are.
Then you had the fog on top of it.
the fog on top of it too. And like the biggest thing for me, like obviously the car's not hard to see, but my biggest problem, Hirsch, and I would assume similar to you, like we don't stare at our car the whole race. You know what I mean? So like something catches your eye, you kind of scan the field, you go, and then you come back and you're looking for your familiar paint scheme, whether it's the monster car or we're changed every week essentially, but still usually you have like identifying colors, and like, all right, I can come back and find my purple car this week or whatever. This week, you scan ahead, you try to come back and you're like, oh, there's 9 red, white, and blue cars around me. Which one's mine? That was yesterday. Sunday was one of the first times I remember, like twice in the race, I was like, oh, where are we? Like I kind of scanned too far back. Then I got to go forward, and I was like, oh, but I mean that's the biggest challenge for me, I think, up there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not all of us are lucky like Lambert to get Dayglow cars.
And he wrecked every one of them.
I liked the like Memorial Day scheme approach that Ally and Bowman took. Like it stood out, and you could see it easy on the racetrack, but it still gave what it was supposed to give, but it wasn't red, white, and blue like all 500 others.
I don't know who picked Ross's paint scheme. I couldn't tell where he was when he crashed. Mm-hmm. It was the same color as the asphalt. Like I knew he hit the wall, I knew he spun, and he's kind of coming back across the racetrack, and I'm just telling Bubba, like, watch it, like you see him, like, because I didn't know if he was 5 lanes from the wall or 3 lanes because I really couldn't see him. It was like it just blended in so well, and it's so flat back there. Those are the hardest. Like the red, white, and blue ones are bad, but then you have like the camo and the like all black or all dark gray. It's like those are a little trickier than
flat,
red,
flat black is a little bit tricky to spot. I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
Next one is, what language did SVG speak before coming to the U.S.?
I forget who was.
I think it was Carl.
Carl, yeah.
I think it was Carl.
Carl said SVG had all these challenges when he came over to race, like driving on the other side of the car and learning a new language. And SVG's like, well, no, I still spoke English.
Just with a little accent. Oh boy, I was nervous when I read that. I was like, did I ask that question somewhere, some way, and forget? Because that sounds like something I would say.
You were good.
All right, DBC Picks. I am.
You are kicking
whooping
our
y'all's
butts.
ass.
Really?
What's
the score?
I have 6-3 on you two right now.
That's all right. We changed the rule. Anytime we get to add our scores together this year.
Oh, that's okay. So I'm buying dinner regardless. Cool. I'm taking donations now, everyone.
Where we're going to Nashville. You two can collab on a pick. I don't know who goes first.
Guests go first.
Guess you guys collab. What do you think?
Tony, I'm leaning on you.
Oh boy.
Obviously, it's like the grayed out ones you can't pick.
Yeah.
He asked that up in the spotter stand. He was ready.
Really?
I try to do my homework going into something.
Surprised you didn't ask for it so we
Yeah,
can
you
look
get
at
an
it.
advanced copy.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Obviously, the guys, I would go with the 54, but he's grayed out, so we can't go with that. Somebody that's run really good ran really good at Dover and ran really good last night. The 43 team hero, Eric Jones, has been running. I think they've stepped their program up, and they've been doing a good job. That's one that sticks out to me.
I'll go with that. I was thinking Ross because he won there a couple years ago. Needs a rebound after the wreck, but I think Jones. Yeah, they found something.
Yeah, obviously Toyota's been really quick. EJ's been willing it the last couple of weeks, so I think we could roll with that.
From one Eric to another.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there you go.
Who's next?
Don't mess it up, Jones.
You're next, Freddie.
I will take Ross. I was like, son of a Eric, shut up, will you?
Tommy?
Who'd you pick?
Ross.
Austin Dillon, because he ran good at Dover, so maybe.
I'm going to take Brad K. We're just winging it.
Weekend winners. Anybody before I
It rained.
It rained
The whole
everywhere.
country.
It rained
The whole country.
everywhere. Even I thought it was like Northeast because obviously we follow
I heard
Riverhead and Wall.
Pierce, the late model kid,
Bobby Pierce won the Show Me 100.
He, started way deep in the field.
Really?
Like
Freddie,
27.
maybe this segment is why you're losing your voice.
Maybe because I got to talk so much here.
Yeah.
I wasn't really watching.
It wasn't like I have a number of results. Obviously, a lot of it's flow based.
What is it?
Flow Sports?
Yeah.
Did you hear that you could get a 15% off subscription by using the link flowsports.link/doorbumperclear?
Go watch Cars Tour at
You
Langley
can watch
this weekend.
Cars Tour at Langley this weekend.
Huge entry list.
Check us out.
Any winners
Modifieds at Riverhead?
Any winners that you stood out? I mean, I know we were probably all the same, not really watching a whole lot of
Mother
anything.
Nature was the only one that stood out. I know Matt had 3 potential races on the docket from Connecticut, New York, and Pennsylvania, and all 3 of them got rained out. So, and we were sitting in the rain down here. So I think it was pretty common thread.
Who won the ASA race at Hickory? Was it Caden
Caden
Quapple?
Caden Quapple.
Yeah.
Caden's on a
That
roll.
was a good race.
Stafford got their show in. Marcello Rufano won. Chris Meyer won the late model. Nick Anglace won the SK Light. Travis Hyder won the limited late model. And Jason Raymond won the street stock race. You mentioned Bobby Pierce won the Show Me 100. Davenport won Friday at Lucas Oil. Shannon Babb won the Mars race at Spoon River. Alex Prunty won at Slinger. Evan Hassler won the late model race at Slinger. This is all on Flow, by the way. Austin Wood won at Silver Dollar. Will Armitage won the IRA sprint car at Wilmot. I probably butchered that. Ryan Unsinger won the late model race at Fairbury. Trevor Huddleston won the Arco West race and Colorado National. Briggs Danner, that kid is super talented. He won the USAC race at Circle City Dirt Track. Cody Swanson won the Little 500. That's one of my favorite races to watch. I turned it on. What happened to Santos? He
got in a fence.
I saw. As soon as I turned it on, he was already buried laps down. That sucks because that's what I love. That Nocella. How did Nocella do? Do we know? I don't even know.
I looked at the run. I know Newman was 6th.
Yeah, that's an awesome event. Yeah. Like if you're ever in town for the Indy 500, you got to go to Little, Anderson for the Little 500. We mentioned ASA, Caden Quapple, Mark Tunney, our buddy Mark Tunney, figure 8 won there. He won the 90-minute figure 8 race at the Speedrome. 251 laps they ran in 90 minutes. That was pretty impressive. Buddy Kofoid won at Huset's. Reitzel won at Knoxville.
He won a lot of them at Knoxville. He won how many races this weekend? I think he won more than one.
Cleaned up. I didn't say. I was just going off the results. Macedo won Thursday night. Then these are all fan submissions. Evan Schotko won Berlin. Also Berlin. This is a whole list of Berlin. Evan Schotko won Berlin Super Late Model. There's no. What do you give me on that name?
I gave you no chance.
Need to ask SVG.
Renska?
Tyler Rensiga is limited late model.
Good job.
Feature 1 and 2. Sportsman feature 1 was Brian Thorne. Brian Tomei. Tim DeVos won Sportsman feature 2. Dwarf car feature was Zach Nichols. Kennedy Swan won Rice Lake Speedway. Sorry, this next name. Alan no idea. It's Kubiszeewski.
You should be right up your alley from Riverhead.
Right. So sorry.
Risky.
He won his first career Bandolero race at Elko, rocking a big 51 sticker on there for Rowdy. Nice. Gabe Summers won the Dick Trickle 99 at Golden Sands. Brentley Smart won 4 quarter midget A mains out in New Mexico. Jesse Kent the Duke's grandson
I
won
seen
up
that.
at Chemung. If you don't know the Duke, George Kent, you're missing out. Dylan Westbrook won a 360 sprint car race at Oshweekend. But my biggest winner of the weekend, listen, one of the guys who was on the list was Eric. He was going to be my biggest winner of the weekend, but he's here. We kissed his ass enough, so you're done.
Cheers.
Steve O'Donnell.
I'm really glad you brought this up.
I think he, on track stuff aside, the way he handled all this stuff with his news conference, I loved the way he shut down stupid questions in that news conference, and then what he did on Sunday. I thought he comes away as my biggest winner of the weekend because I don't know that it would have came across as genuine with some of the other people that were in that position.
No, there's only two people that could have did that. Would have been him and Mike Helton.
Yep.
We forgot to mention Indy 500, Freddie.
Oh yeah, who won that?
Felix Rosenquist.
What a race! Me and Hirsch were sitting. There's a little bar in the infield. We went and sat on some couches, watched on the big screen for a while. But what a finish to that race. Rosenquist,
cream white checker.
Green white.
Green white
together
in the truck, right?
I mean, you want to talk about putting them on the dash?
Yeah.
I've never seen someone in
On the
an Indy car.
I thought.
three out of four corners
you've
on the
spotted
outside.
that race. What 7-8 times? I think you said. When they were side by side behind him, I was like, they're never going to get to him. They're never going to catch. Malukas is clear, and the run he got off of 4, I was like, oh, he's got a shot at him right here. But yeah,
I thought Mike Shank was probably losing his mind.
Oh yeah,
being like, figure it out and go get him, and they still pulled it off. It's incredible.
Thomas, where are we going racing this week?
Where are we?
We're here, Nashville. I'm talking about you.
We got Franklin County.
Is that this
Friday
weekend?
night with the Smart Tour, which is also on
Do
flow.
they have speedy dry this time?
Yeah, they got no dirt piled up.
Jamie
yeah.
McMurray racing with
Jamie
Carter.
McMurray's making his modified debut. Gets a chance to race against his boy, which is cool. And we got that's it. Nashville. Then I go fly. Yeah. We fly out Saturday morning to Nashville.
Carson.
Car Store's back. We're at Langley.
Saturday.
We got a few. Yep, Saturday. We got a few coming out of the woodworks. Connor Hall will be back with us, and we have.
Is he driving that 77 car?
Allegedly, it's his blue car
boy.
with Barry Nelson's number 12 on it, so we'll see.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, I'm excited. We've got like a driver appearance at Busch Gardens on Thursday. On Friday.
Oh, Hirschman.
No. Don't tell
nobody knows this, though.
I think we talked about it the last time.
Yeah,
Hirsch goes to amusement parks by himself. I'll leave it at that.
Well, we'll be at the Busch Gardens.
Him and Justin, I got my buddy Justin's over here in the back. They start talking about like the roller coaster federation last night. They both know what each other's talking about. I'm like, I gotta get out of here.
It was fun. Like I can never tell anybody like what a day in my life looks like working in my position, because last week I was like sending out a blast text to my drivers. Hey, who is afraid of roller coasters and who isn't? Because I need a couple of you to ride one on Saturday.
I need to make my car store debut this weekend.
Come on.
I'm on graduation duty this weekend. My oldest daughter Amelia is graduating, so I'm not sure when I'm going to get to Nashville. I'm hoping to get to Nashville, but
just came off the senior prom.
Yeah,
saw the picture. The dress, getting her. I was like, Hirsch.
That's the youngest or the oldest?
Oldest. Yeah.
Hey, give a shout out to the prom king. What's his name?
Jackie. He's a great kid. He does all the photography and stuff for all the basketball games. Mia's got her friend group, all the girls, and then Jackie's included in all the fun with them. And just a great group, a great group of kids, and not.
Did you have to give him the talk?
No.
Thank God he wasn't there, because he would have.
He's met my dad, so I think there's no talk needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, congrats out to Jackie, and glad everybody had a great time at the prom, and I'm looking forward to graduation this weekend. Time flies; it goes by quick.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming in, staying. You extended your Thursday night. I'm like, man, I don't know what the I'm going to do for this show this week. I don't know who the hell I'm going to have on. And Hirsch had just landed. Unfortunately, we just all got the news that night. And I was like, hey, man, can you stay till Tuesday and do? He's like, absolutely. So I appreciate you doing it. We dragged you in here to cheer us up a little bit. I thank you for coming in. Blake's been, the fan club president back there has been hounding me to get you on here. So now maybe he can stop texting me about it. But we really appreciate all you guys. And this was obviously not our favorite show probably to do, but Kyle just meant the world, I think all of us essentially, and he'll be missed for sure. But we thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week after Nashville. Thanks for listening.